Hello YouTube, what is going on? It is Epic Big Bird. I've got some more Rome 2 online battle action to show you today. Um, Recently, I've seen a lot of interest in uh, these Barbarian factions, so I've decided I would try to incorporate them into some of my videos. This is actually a battle that I fought earlier this week, and at first I didn't find too interesting, but after I've watched it over a couple times, I have found some interesting tactics that I'd like to share with you guys today about these Barbarian factions that I think we could all learn from. So I am Iceni in this battle, and my opponent has chosen Swabia. I'm going to try and go over unit compositions. I'm going to put this in slow motion because this battle is pretty fast, as what is pretty typical with what I'm finding with most of these barbarian battles. But you can see here, what's important right now is you can see my opponent has two noble riders, and right off the beginning of the battle, he charged his noble riders forward. Looks like he was going to do some scouting in this forest for some ambushing units, and as you can see, I did have those, and so that was a very smart maneuver by him. I was checking forward my heroic riders there to try and draw them away, but you can see there he did discover them. Honestly, the mistake that he did make there, though, was not charging them. I'm not sure whether or not, these heroic riders would have been able to take my heroic riders. Most likely it would have been a pretty even fight, but if I were my Swabian opponent, I would have taken a charge into those unarmored ambushers at that moment. Due to their low armor, these very light, they're very light melee infantry. It means they're so vulnerable to charges, missiles. So that would have been a smart maneuver in my opinion. Anyways, let's get to army builds. You can see here I've also moved my other heroic rider to my right flank to support that fight. My opponent has brought in two longbow hunters, and he's brought in two Germanic youths. He has three berserkers and two swordmasters, and then it looks like he's bringing Woden as spears to anchor his army. You can see he's decided to bring three sets of noble riders, two on his left and one on his right flank at this moment, and I believe that's all of his army. Now if we look at my army, you can see most of it actually hasn't even been discovered yet, which is a good thing, which means my opponent's still guessing about what I have at this point in the battle. I've brought in three Briton slingers, and I've brought in these slingers with the intention to destroy my opponent's skirmishing component. That's what slingers really are meant to do, and I think due to their high reload speed, that's why. Since they can shoot further and faster than any other skirmisher unit, that makes them very good for taking down lightly armored units like skirmishers. So that's what I'm doing there. My opponent reacts very smartly to this. He sees that he's going to lose the skirmishing battle, so he's not going to sit around, and he's going to move his berserkers forward to start the infantry engagement. You can see here we're still doing checks with our cav. My infantry, I'm sorry guys, I have brought with me I believe four chosen sword bands and two heroic nobles to hold up the flanks, and then I also have brought with me three spear bands to anchor my army in place. Now the main difference between our armies, basically, when it comes to the infantry edge, is that his berserkers have no armor, so we'll see how that plays out later in the battle. I'm going to go back to fast forward mode because things are about to get very interesting over on my right flank. You can see here my heroic raiders get into a pretty interesting conflict with his noble riders. I got a good charge on his noble riders there, and then he countercharged with these noble riders, and then in return I countercharged with my own general. You can see over here he's charging right in with his berserkers. He's catching me completely off guard right now. I didn't even get charge orders issued, so I don't even know if that's beneficial to me or not at this point. It was under my understanding that most of these barbarian units, they work on the charge. A lot of their infantry have high charge bonuses for going into combat, so it's very good to get them in their charge, especially with their popped abilities. You can see there he negated that from me, so I was pretty worried about the infantry battle at this point. You can see here he's also brought in some Bloodsworn to help win the engagement, the cavalry engagement. I'm going to try and respond by bringing in Spearband. However, Spearband are not going to be an answer for Bloodsworn. I still have skirmishers here, but you can see he's now targeting them with Germanic Youth, which is a pretty good counter. Like I said earlier, low armor on these ambusher units, so pretty much any skirmisher unit will do good against them. But you can see the cavalry engagement is still up in the air, but at this point, if I don't do something against these Germanic Youth, it's game over. And you can see he's actually bringing over he's using his numbers to his advantage. He's going to pop Frenzied Charge, and he's going to plow right into the rear of the cavalry engagement, and that's pretty much sealing up. That's going to seal the fate of the cavalry engagement. So, but let's take a look over at the infantry engagement. It's actually swung my way, which is something I didn't expect. You can see I have a pretty strong anchor still to deal with his superior cav at this moment. My slingers are now targeting his cav, but I'm not too worried about them because I have superior spears right now, so the rear of my army is protected. And what I believe has happened here is he had 3 berserkers and only 2 swordmasters. Now the 3 berserkers had no armor at all. They do, however, have higher health, and like a lot higher damage, obviously. But when it came down to the sustained combat, the sustained melee, my swordmasters and heroic nobles were able to pull the fight out because they had the armor. They had the ability to stay in sustained combat with no support and no relief. And as we can see what's happening, that's actually what's turning the tide in this battle. My swordmasters, simply because they can take more hits and stay fighting even though they're exhausted. They are exhausted, but they can stay fighting because they have the armor. And you can see that's really what turned the battle here. The armor on my infantry turned the tide on the infantry battle, and I'm gonna have superior sword numbers now, and that's basically what you always want in these these barbarian battles. You want superior swords. That's where your strength is as a barbarian faction. But you can see here that's pretty much going to wrap up the battle. Like I said, I thought that was a very interesting battle. I hope you guys feel the same. I hope this sheds some light on these barbarian factions. I'm going to try and upload some more videos and explore these barbarian factions some more, but thank you so much for checking out this video. This has been Epic Big Bird. Have a nice day.